Hello, everyone. Welcome to our virtual field talk. My name is Hannah Rupert, and I am the Director of Education and Volunteer Operations here at the Maryland Zoo. My co-host today with me is Erica Murphy, one of our fabulous cheetah keepers at the Maryland Zoo. We would like to thank SC&H Group for their sponsorship of this virtual field talk series, which makes it possible for us to open this experience to all who wish to attend. Before we welcome our speaker, I have just a few housekeeping items. We're going to be here for about 60 minutes. My colleague who's running the technology will reach out through the chat feature with additional information throughout the talk. You're also welcome to use the chat feature if you have any issues or need technical assistance. Your video and microphone will remain off, but we encourage you to submit questions using the Q&A feature, which is located next to the chat button. We will attempt to have all of your questions answered, but we can't guarantee that there will be time that will permit us to address every question we receive, but please do ask questions. Today, we are pleased to highlight the work being done by Anati Siaya from Cheetah Conservation Fund. I'm going to hand it over to Erica to introduce Anati.
Hi, everyone. Anaki grew up in Otarongo, the nearest town to Cheetah Conservation Fund's headquarters in Namibia, and was first introduced to conservation very young when her school and church would take her to CCF for environmental education programs. She believes some memories from these excursions stuck with her long enough that she decided on a career in conservation and was inspired to come back and work at CCF. After completing her undergraduate degree in biology at the University of Namibia, she worked as an environmental educator at a research station in the Namib Desert and then went on to pursue a master's degree in applied ecology in Norway. She worked as a full-time high school teacher in her hometown of Otarongo after completing her studies in Norway, teaching natural and social sciences for 2 years before joining CCF as the research and education manager. Anaki has been actively involved in designing conservation courses for varied audiences, including communities, livestock farmers, students, and teachers, along with delivering them. She believes in leading by example, which has helped her in being successful with managing and supervising interns and volunteers at CCF. Her role at CCF has inspired her to be an innovative and effective leader in difficult situations repeatedly. She helped secure funding to continue the Future Conservationists of Africa education program at CCF through an online platform during the pandemic when it was difficult to provide in-person conservation training and education. Anaki is very passionate about educating, especially the youth, as the future of conservation lies in their hands. She is also interested in research, collaboration, and networking opportunities that will lead to lasting solutions to the human-wildlife conflict with wild predators.
We will now switch things over to our speaker. Anati, thank you so much for joining us today for the Zoo's virtual field talk series.
Thank you so much for having me, and hello, everyone. All right, so today I'm going to be sharing with you what CCF is doing to ensure the survival of the cheetah for future generations. As introduced, I am Aniki Siaya. I'm the Research and Education Manager here at Cheetah Conservation Fund, and I hope that you will enjoy my talk. I'm just going to turn off my video just because my network is not very stable. All right. So Cheetah Conservation Fund was founded in 1990 by Dr. Laurie Maka. CCF is a nonprofit organization with a base in Namibia and more recently in Somaliland, but also working globally for cheetahs. In Namibia, we are on a 57,000 hectare wildlife reserve integrated with a model livestock farm. CCF is dedicated to saving the cheetah in the wild. We adopt a holistic approach in which we work with people who live with cheetahs by addressing environmental, social, and economic problems that impact the ecosystems in which the cheetahs are found. So why cheetahs, you may ask? Cheetahs are very special, and I may be biased, but they're the fastest land animal, reaching top speeds of 70 miles per hour. They're excellent hunters, but they're not very good at protecting what they have hunted. They are the only big cat that purrs. They have unique vocalizations. They have dog-like barks, bird-like chirps. They growl and they hiss, and they have amazing vision. Cheetahs play very important roles in ecosystems, and they are one of 3 large cats found here in Namibia, alongside the lion and leopards. And because of that, they are apex predators, and they play a very important role in ecosystem, which includes removing vulnerable prey. This is the removal of the young, the old, and the sick, thereby controlling and maintaining healthy prey populations. And by so doing, they also help to prevent overgrazing, and they help to feed other animals such as scavengers. Now, cheetahs face many threats, and most of these threats are due to the expansion of the human population into the natural habitat of the cheetah. And what then happens is that cheetahs and other wildlife lose habitat, and they lose prey. And because in Namibia, 80% of Namibia's cheetah population is found outside of protected areas, cheetahs have to share their natural habitat with livestock farmer. And naturally, what you would have then is human-wildlife conflict. And cheetahs also lose their lives to retaliatory killings, conflict with larger predators. Cheetahs have a very low competitive ability, and they will suffer from interspecific killing from other predators. They will suffer kleptoparasitism, that is when other predators steal their prey from them, and the exclusion of cheetahs from prey-rich areas. Cheetahs, because of the ice age, have undergone what is known as a genetic bottleneck, and what you have is loss of genetic diversity, inbreeding, and disease. There's also poaching that is a threat to cheetah, and the illegal wildlife trafficking for especially the pet trade. Currently, the cheetah is extinct in over 20 countries, and more than 90% of their range has been lost. So in the 1900s, what you had is about 100,000 cheetahs. Today, we have less than 7,100 cheetahs, and that translates to 31 populations, 20 populations that are under 100 individuals. 77% of these populations are found outside of protected areas, and 50% are found in Southern Africa, which includes Namibia. And so what CCF has done is adopt a holistic approach to addressing some of the issues or some of the threats that the cheetah is facing today, from research to education to habitat restoration, capacity building. All are factors that help CCF address the threats that the cheetah is facing today. So CCF runs 3 programs, that is the conservation, education, and research program. And under the conservation program, we have the livestock guarding dog program, we have the bush block program, and we have also adapted the conservancy approach. The livestock guarding dog program here at CCF started in 1994 when the Anatolian Shepherd livestock dog was imported into Africa from the USA. This is a Turkish breed that has been known to protect livestock for over 5,000 years. We breed these puppies on our model farm here at CCF. These puppies are born and raised with our goats, and naturally, these puppies will bond and protect what they are raised with, which are dogs and the sheep that they are raised with. And what you have then is dogs saving cats. To date, CCF has placed nearly 700 dogs, and we have also helped programs in South Africa, Botswana, Tanzania, and South Africa start their own programs. And farmers on which we have placed our dogs, see an 80% reduction in livestock losses, not only to cheetahs, but to predators in general. And what you have is farmers that are open to coexisting with cheetahs because they see our livestock guarding dogs as an economic benefit. The livestock guarding dog program has led to intense training with farmers. And with that, we developed the Future Farmers of Africa program, which I will talk about a bit later during my presentation. And also with that, it has led to training in integrated livestock, wildlife, and rangeland management. The Bush Block program is a habitat restoration program. We harvest thickened thorn bush caused by overgrazing of livestock, and we make a low impact, high heat fuel log called the Bush Block. And the Bush Block program is also a biotechnology demonstration center. So what you have with the Bush Block is also that we contribute to the local economy by providing employment and providing an alternative source of energy for people that don't have access to electricity. The conservancy approach is that large connected landscape supporting integrated wildlife and livestock. So these are either private landowners or communal landowners that come together to conserve basically wildlife, but also benefiting from wildlife. So CCF is part of the Waterberg and Greater Waterberg landscape. Namibia is one of few countries that actually included the protection of environments and ecosystems in its constitution. And so 40% of Namibia is in conservancies. So the maroon areas that you see here are the communal conservancies, and the green areas are the state protected areas. So we have CCF here, and this is the land owned by CCF. We have the Waterberg Plateau, which is a national park and protected area. And beyond the Waterberg, we have these 4 communal conservancies in which CCF has been working in to find lasting solutions to human-wildlife conflicts in those areas. Our education programs are comprised or made up of the Future Conservationists of Africa program, our internship and volunteer program, as well as the Future Farmers of Africa program. The Future Conservationists of Africa program, also known as the FCA, started in 1992 with a focus on integrated conservation curriculum, engaging Namibian students with the natural world around them. And FCA provides interactive platforms and experiences for young people to learn about Namibia's endangered big cat, the cheetah. And so with this program, we teach students the value of predators as a part of the ecosystem and how to live in harmony with them. Our program goals for FCA include increasing the knowledge of Namibia's wildlife, and also to create a positive perception among young people of cheetahs and predators in general, because young people are the future of tomorrow, basically. So we need to equip them with knowledge to ensure that wildlife. And the outcomes of this program so far have been that students have become very excited about Namibia's natural environment and its wildlife, and it has helped them to better understand the importance of their role in conservation of Namibia's rich biodiversity. And over 700,000 students have participated in this program to date. I am also a previous participant in the FCA program. As introduced earlier, I participated in environmental education programs growing up in the closest town to Cheetah Conservation Fund. And I like to say that although we don't see the benefits of education right away, when we have done it and we have done it right, the impacts are really amazing. Due to COVID-19 this year, we have not been able to do our normal outreach. And so what we have done is we have translated the lessons that we have in our teachers resource guide. So CCF published this teachers resource guide to show and teach teachers that, you know, it doesn't matter what subject you specialize in. You don't have to be a science teacher to teach about, you know, predators and their role in ecosystem. You can be a language teacher, a history teacher. You know, this resource guide gives any teacher the opportunity to teach about the role of predators in ecosystems in their classrooms. So due to COVID, what we did is we translated these lessons that are found in the teacher's resource guide into presentations using a platform called a multimedia platform called VoiceThreads. And then we have then engaged learners and teachers using a platform called Edmodo, which is free for teachers and students all over the world to use. Our intern and volunteer program that has fostered nearly 700 students and interns. Most of these interns or volunteers come to CCF as part of the programs that they are doing in university. And so this program is for university students, college students, including what we call here in Namibia VTCs or vocational training centers. This program is open for both local and international students. And what we have is students working alongside our team of experts in all our areas of expertise, including wildlife conservation, genetics, agriculture, ecotourism, and veterinary medicine. And also we run a working guest program where we have professionals, you know, volunteering their expertise at CCF here in Namibia. The Future Farmers of Africa program, also known as the FFA, started in 2003 as an expansion of our education outreach. This program is aimed at rural farmers, teaching predator-friendly farming techniques, herd and rangeland management, disease control and vaccination under our One Health program, and rabies vaccination is a huge part of that program, sustainable wildlife use, as well as business principles. Over 25,000 farmers have participated in the FFA program, and training continues to be in very high demand. FFA is focused on building practical skills and showing farmers how to maximize both economic and environmental benefits. And, you know, when we have done this, farmers see the cheetah as not an enemy, but an important part of the ecosystem, and farmers are more open to coexisting with cheetah and other predators. Under research, we have cheetah biology and genetics. We have our cheetah sanctuary here at our center in Namibia. We have safe houses also in Somaliland. We conduct ecological research, and we have our scat detection program. We run a registered veterinary clinic here at our headquarters in Namibia, where prevalence of disease and stress factors are also studied. We do reproductive research. We collect sperm from cheetahs that come through and are worked on by our vets. And we also have a genetics lab that runs DNA extraction and analysis. Our sanctuary at the moment currently houses 26 cheetahs, 23 permanent, and 3 candidates for release. Our cheetahs here at the sanctuary live in large enclosures. We exercise them, we feed them, and we try to understand them a little better with ongoing research. Our ecological research is mostly centered around understanding the cheetah's ecology, their habitat, their prey base. Cheetahs inhabit or have home ranges of more than 1,600 square kilometers. And because farms here in Namibia are interconnected, cheetahs may travel between approximately 20 farms that are 5,000 hectares. They occur in very low densities, translating to 2 to 12 cheetahs per 1,000 square kilometers. And over the past 10 years, we have released more than 50 cheetahs. And before we release these cheetahs, we collar them, and we track to see how they are doing. And so far, we've had 76% success rate in individuals that we have released. We also conduct camera trap studies, game counts, sport tracking, and wildlife surveys that help us understand the cheetah and some of the threats that it is facing. Our scare detection dog program uses dogs to actually find scares. Our scare of interest is obviously cheetah, but depending on what our focus is in, we also do try to find scat of other predators. This scat is then taken to the CCF's genetics lab, where DNA is extracted and analyses are conducted. And from that, we try to find the genetics of the species and the individual, population genetics, its diet, hormone, and disease. We also collaborate with universities, research institutions, and zoos around the world. And this collaboration is multidisciplinary, which includes collaborating with veterinarians, ecologists, geneticists, food scientists, and etc. CCF is also very big on livelihood development, and because we have a model farm, we are practicing what we are preaching, and we are showing farmers ways that they can diversify livestock products. And so on our model farm, we produce various cheeses, yogurt, fudge, ice cream, and soap from goat's milk. And CCF also helps artists and artisans reach the market and sell their work. And so our products are certified wildlife friendly. CCF also works in Somaliland, around the area which is known as the Horn of Africa. And the challenges there are slightly different from the challenges that we have here in Namibia, also as big threats to the cheetah survival. And the biggest threat there is the illegal wildlife trafficking for the pet trade. So the Republic of Somaliland and CCF are have been partnering in the Horn of Africa since 2011. Currently, CCF operates 3 safe houses for confiscated cheetah due to illegal wildlife trade and conflict with livestock farmers. Currently, CCF houses 61 cheetahs at houses and 1 leopard. Confiscated cubs at the center in Hargeisa in Somaliland reach the safe houses in very, very bad state. They reach the safe houses there very weak, dehydrated, malnourished, sick, and the majority of them, unfortunately, do not make it. And so in that area, CCF is dedicated to stopping the illegal wildlife trade in cheetah, and CCF works closely with the Ministry of Environment and Rural Development, which is CCF's best partner in this fight. And some of the solutions to the illegal wildlife trade includes training, enforcement, law enforcement, awareness campaigns, supporting the police and Coast Guard, veterinary training, and CCF recently signed a 30-year MOU with the Somaliland Ministry of Environment and Rural Development. We are looking into seeing if ecotourism is something that can be, done there for educational activities for both local and international visitors. And then demand reduction by stopping the trade in the Middle East through education and political partnerships. Here at CCF Namibia, we run a cheetah, we run Cheetah View Lodge, which is an eco lodge. We have a garden which is called Chewbacca Memorial Garden, from which staff and interns enjoy fresh vegetables. And we also have a vineyard from which we have produced wine. Cheetah Conservation Fund celebrates International Cheetah Day every year on the 4th of December. 4th of December was designated as International Cheetah Day by Dr. Laurie Marker in remembrance of a cheetah cub she had hand-raised. The cheetah cub was called Kayam. So every year, CCF in the world joins together in celebration of the fastest land animal. And we celebrate the fastest land animal through awareness, art, displays, music, as well as dance. And if you'd like to find out how we celebrate International Cheetah Day, do visit us on our website on www.cheetah.org. CCF has also published a 40-chapter book that has been co-authored by 160 world's leading cheetah experts. This book summarizes and synthesizes current scientific knowledge on the cheetah, and this book is called Cheetahs Biology and Conservation, Biodiversity of the World, Conservation from Genes to Landscape. And so in conclusion, CCF is really more than just about cheetahs. And as I mentioned, we adopt a holistic approach, which includes, stakeholders, the people living alongside, cheetahs and the wildlife, habitat restoration, all in hopes that the cheetah's survival will continue, or the cheetah will continue to survive in the wild for future generations. So thank you for listening.
Thank you, Anati, for sharing all of that wonderful information. If you wanted to go ahead and stop sharing your screen, we can go ahead and start answering some of the questions from our Q&A. One of the first questions that I think ties in perfectly is, we have a class joining us today, and they would like to know, why do you love to help cheetahs so much?
All right, I will turn on my video. All right, so I love cheetahs, and that is just because also Namibia is the cheetah capital of the world, and we don't want a situation where the cheetah is extinct, and fast forward in the future, a young person asks, but what did you do to try and prevent the extinction of cheetahs? We want to be able, to be able to confidently tell them that we have done all we could to save cheetahs, and we don't want that question. We do not want that question. And also, just living very closely to Cheetah Conservation Fund, growing up and coming to CCF, I didn't understand why cheetahs were being killed. And I think those experiences growing up have helped shaped my my vision in seeing young people experiencing what I experienced coming here at Cheetah Conservation Fund and seeing the cheetah for the very first time. I think it would be very bad of us to rob young people of the opportunity to see a cheetah, not in captivity, but in the wild.
I love that answer. I can feel your passion about cheetah, and I hope others can as well. I think Erica has another question that she's gonna ask next.
I do. So that class would also like to know, how do people handle the cheetahs? Is it dangerous? Maybe speaking to how the keepers work with the cheetahs.
So the cheetah is one of 3 large cats here in Namibia, alongside the lion and the leopard, but they are also the least aggressive large cats. And also the cheetahs that come to us here at CCF have come to us because, you know, mother cheetah was killed and the young ones have not had enough training with the mother to survive in the wild. And some of them have become habituated to people. So in a way, you know, they are not, you know, dangerous to the keepers who work with them every day. And, you know, they are habituated, they're used to the keepers that handle them. But that is not to say that we do not pet our cheetahs. They are still very much wild, although, you know, they live in captivity.
All right. So we had another question. What do you look for in a cheetah at the sanctuary to know if they're releasable?
Okay, so the rule of thumb here at CCF is that if a cheetah has come to us under the age of 6 months, they are not a good candidate for release because they have not had enough training from mother cheetah, you know, important skills in the wild, such as what to hunt, when to hunt, where to hunt. They are, you know, they are habituated to humans. So those are not good candidates for release. But those of, you know, cheetahs that have wild and are over the age of 6 months, our cheetah keepers and our rewilding team works with them to try and rehabilitate them and then see if they're good candidates for release. But otherwise, the age and where they have come from determines if they are good candidates for release.
All right, so we have a question about the livestock guardian dog program. So do the Anatolian shepherd dogs keep the cheetahs away from the livestock simply just by their presence, because the cheetahs will stay away from herds guarded by the dogs, or do they actually have to engage and fight with the cheetahs?
So they don't have to engage. You know, the Anatolian shepherd dog is also a predator. And so what the cheetah just wants to see is that there is presence of either a dog or a human protecting the livestock. But the Anatolian shepherd dog will fight to the death, try and protect its head. So yeah, just the presence and, you know, the presence, and they're such a huge dog and they bark so loudly that alone is enough to drive a cheetah away. And cheetahs are so smart, you know, they will just avoid these, you know, confrontations they know they will lose from. So yeah.
You had mentioned your criteria for cheetahs that can be released back into their native habitat, but you do have cheetah that are permanent residents with CCF.
Absolutely.
Can you tell us a little bit more about those resident cheetahs that are living there with you?
Yes, sure. So most of our resident cheetahs, the ones that are here, you know, have come to us because, you know, they were taken from the young too soon by people who thought it was a good idea to have a cheetah as a pet, or, you know, or the mother cheetah was killed from either whether perceived or real, you know, livestock depredation. And so what we have here is basically those individuals that we are not able to release in the wild, and most of them have been hand raised by our staff here at CCF. But yeah, I would say, you know, they are living a comfortable life. We do feed them, we exercise them, and, you know, although they are captive, we like to still think of them as having, you know, their wild instinct. And so we don't try to, you know, engage with them or be around them when we do not need to be around them and engaging with them. So yeah, they all have their various personalities. Our cheetah keepers will tell you who the specific individuals are. I won't be able to because I don't work directly with them, but our cheetah keepers can tell who is who. And yeah.
I'm sure as a cheetah keeper here at the zoo, Erica can relate to that, and our two cheetah that live here with us.
All right. Yes, it sometimes can be difficult to tell the difference between so many individuals. I can speak to that. So you've mentioned a couple times that CCF has a holistic approach to conservation in terms of cheetahs and the overall landscape. So are there other species that benefit from cheetahs and cheetah habitats when they're preserved?
Absolutely. I mean, cheetahs are apex predators, and if you've conserved the apex predator, you've basically helped to allow the ecosystem to be intact. All right. So what you have is apex predators that then help to control the prey base, and also then the vegetation. CCF works to preserve other species such as the African wild dog. We also, I mean, predators in general. So CCF works to ensure the protection of predators in the ecosystems as well, in which the cheetahs are found. But really, once you have preserved an apex predator such as the cheetah, you have succeeded in allowing an ecosystem to function at its best capacity, basically.
All right. Thank you for answering that one. I love that question, and I love that answer.
Thank you.
So with the cheetahs that live in your care at CCF, we had a question about, can you train cheetahs, and what enriching things do you provide to them in their daily lives to help them kind of use their natural behaviors and their natural strengths and abilities?
So here at CCF, we do exercise our cheetahs using a lure and a motor system. So that's one of the activities our cheetah keepers like to do with especially our resident cats, here. I will probably not be the best question to answer that. Our cheetah keepers would be, the best people to answer that question. But otherwise, yes, that's one way that we help to provide enrichment for our cheetahs.
Maybe Erica, as somebody who's been a volunteer at CCF and works with our cheetahs here, Erica, is there anything that you can add on to enriching, that something that you might provide here for our cheetahs that live here at the Maryland Zoo versus what you may have seen them provide in Africa?
Yeah, that's a good question. So typically here at the zoo, we're going to have more interaction than the cheetah keepers would have with the resident cheetahs over at CCF. But certainly some sensory items like perfumes or spices can be given out, something for the cheetahs to kind of go and find, help them navigate through their habitats and look for something new and enriching to kind of mentally stimulate them.
I guess there's probably a lot more sense in Africa because they have all of that wildlife that they're sharing that space. So we have to kind of substitute some of those scents and smells for navigating their habitat. And I will say that our male cheetahs here, they do a lot of navigating of their habitat when they're not doing the typical cheetah thing of relaxing and saving their energy.
All right, so we had a really good question that what can people living in the United States or outside of Namibia or outside of Africa in general do to support cheetah conservation?
Thank you so much for that question. I thought it would never come. Yeah, you can donate to our cause here in Namibia and in Somaliland. You can volunteer in Somaliland or here in Namibia. You can share with your friends, your family, your community, just raising awareness about the cheetah and the work that we do here at Cheetah Conservation Fund. And also just come and visit us if you can here in Namibia, or visit us on our website for more information on what you can do to support the work that we do.
CCF does some amazing, wonderful things for cheetah and beyond cheetah. How did the organization originally get started?
Okay, so Dr. Lori Marker started her career cheetahs at the wildlife safari in Winston, Oregon, back in the 70s. And she hand raised a cheetah cub called Kayam, and she wanted to bring that cub to Namibia to see if a hand raised cub can be taught how to hunt. So that research was successful. And during her visit to Namibia in the late 70s, she realized that she noticed that a lot of livestock farmers were killing cheetahs by the hundreds every year. And so I think that was a great motivation for her to come and set up a base here in Namibia and founding the Cheetah Conservation Fund in 1990. Yeah, so just to add on to that, yeah, and she wanted to obviously come up with solutions on how this can be stopped. And so she started, going from one farm to the other, having, informal conversations with farmers, trying to understand why they were killing cheetahs. And with that, she learned that farmers were killing cheetahs because of, livestock losses to cheetahs, whether perceived or real, and other predators. And this is when she, started the livestock guarding program here at CCF, which is a very popular program here in Namibia. And we have a 3-year waiting list of farmers wanting to get a livestock guarding dog from us.
That is amazing to hear that you have such a high interest in people that want to join this program and join the conservation efforts. That really goes to show all of the amazing work that's being done.
All right. So you spoke a little bit about the overall genetic population with cheetahs in general, and the genetic bottleneck that occurred quite a long time ago. So do you do any breeding of the resident cheetahs at CCF? And if so, have you found any that have any important or less common genetics, and what would happen to those cubs?
So breeding of, cheetahs or predators here in Namibia is illegal. But also what we have learned over the years is that cheetahs do not breed very well in captivity. And so, yeah, and as I mentioned in my presentation, because of, the event that happened a long time ago, cheetah populations, the cheetah population genetics are very, very similar. So what you have is that if one population suffers from, a specific disease known in cheetahs, chances that, the next population has similar problems are very, very high. So we don't breed in captivity here in Namibia at all. Yeah. Do you breed at the Maryland Zoo?
So we do not. We currently have 2 brothers. We are not set up to have the best success to do any breeding. So
okay.
We are just a holding facility for non-breeding males right now.
Okay. Yeah, and also all our, because we are not allowed to breed in captivity, our cheetahs here are, the resident cats are, sterilized.
We had another question that focused, or I guess I was asking about more struggles that cheetahs are facing. With the 24% reintroduction failures, what have you found to be the cause of those failures? And what are the criteria that call it a failure?
So success rate is measured based on reproductive ability. So if they reproduce, so if a female, for example, reproduces in the wild that we have released, that is a great success. But also to the failures, it's basically, what I've mentioned as a threat. Once they are released, obviously they have to, go and interact with, with other animals. and, the conflict with larger predators. Some of them, get expelled from high prey habitats, or they get killed by another larger predator, or their kills get constantly stolen by other predators. So it's really a combination of factors that results in that 24% failure rate, if I may say, of cheetahs that are released.
All right. So a little bit of a happier question. What's the most rewarding part of working for CCF for you?
The most rewarding part of working for CCF here is working with young people, and when they see a cheetah for the very first time. That is very, very rewarding. So we do a lot of outreach programs, and students that are able to visit us here at the center. But for most of the students that we visit, they have never seen a cheetah before, and they did not know about the cheetah before we visited them. And so, having them come here to see a cheetah for the very first time, and them telling you, or sharing with us that this is also what they want to do when they grow up, or they tell me that I want to be like you when I grow up. This is very, very rewarding. And also seeing young people that have gone through our program, whether they contribute to cheetah conservation or conservation of, other wildlife species. I mean, as long as it is conservation and it is, conserving wildlife, this is very, very, very rewarding for me personally.
What other species other than cheetah are a common species that CCF might interact with, or that you have staff there that have focus of research projects or species of interest?
So species of interest apart from the cheetah is leopard. We have a study now in the Eastern Communal Conservancies that is focused on the interaction of cheetahs with leopards. And African wild dog is also another species that is of interest to us here at CCF. But with our genetics laboratory also, we have what we call opportunistic collection of species samples that we then store in our genetics lab for future research if an interest to focus on a specific species or a genus comes up. But really our main focus is cheetah and other predators.
That's very, very interesting. It looks like our host has shared Cheetah Conservation's TV playlist of cheetah in our chat. So if folks are interested in checking that out, definitely please check that out after our field talk today. I want to thank you, Anati, for speaking to us today about your work with Cheetah Conservation Fund. If you would like to make a donation in support of Cheetah Conservation Fund's work, there is a link available in the chat box for you to make an online donation. I also want to thank our sponsors, SC&H Group, for helping us to bring these virtual field talks to such a wide audience. And thank you guys all for joining us today. We hope that you'll join us for our next field talk, where we hear more from Dan Wilson from Tri-State Bird Rescue. Please go to our website for more of those details, and we hope to see you there. Thank you, Anati, and thank you, Erica, both for joining us today. If anyone does have any other questions, we will be here for a little bit more. But until then, thank you guys all for joining us today.